in some ways, and if one wants to deal with it in a more systematic way, the fact that is what I call the Almighty, this descendant on Mount Sinai, revealed himself in a certain way, which is the most important part of it, and revealed something about the truth, which is basically, he revealed something about the relationship between him and the world. That is the revelation, that is Mount Sinai. Now, if I suppose some of you had this kind of thinking, when we speak about, say, religion, one way or another, we find there are two parts of it. One part of it is, you can find it, strangely enough, in most of the Hasidic books. The Hasidic books, so we'll refer you to some of the books that some of you may either have learned, or if you didn't learn, you have still time to learn. Say books like, not only, say a book like Derech Mitzvotecha, which is a systematic book that deals with this point or notion of belief in a more structured way. But the notions themselves are found in many other places. They are not always arranged in one way. And then the notion there is that faith, belief, in the sense of belief in the existence of God in one way or another, is really not a matter of belief or a revelation, but it is a matter of, how to say it, to quote it, it's a matter of seeing things as they are, understanding things in a way that is basically human, and that doesn't really need any special revelation or jump of faith. See, the jump of faith doesn't happen there, because seeing, understanding, there is one word is there is a creator, a leader, a life of the world, in one way or another, is not considered to be a matter of faith, but a matter of common sense. As common as many of the other things that we know sometimes, because they are a part of our basic understanding of existence. Now, you may say, if it is so, why are there so many, now, in our time, so many agnostics and atheists? If it's such an obvious thing, which is, if you are if you are below the level if you are not below the level of 50 points in the IQ, you can understand it, you can see it, you can perceive it. Now, if it is so simple, so commonplace, so why are there so many people that are, so to say, some of them even intelligent people, that are atheists and the like? Now, I'm discussing it because I think it's of some importance. Well, I'm meeting lots of people. I'm searching now for years to find a real atheist. For years. Not that I don't see I'm living only in Mea Shearim. I'm going sometimes out of the borders of Mea Shearim and Geula. But still, and I find all kinds of people. Some of them are people that, for the speaking about Yiddishkeit and about Jewish things, I would really dearly love to slap them, if I could. Some of them are really kickable. But that is one thing. But you see, let me put it this way. They may say what they are. They may say they are agnostics. They may say they are atheists. Now, I am, perhaps because I didn't grow in the right believing society, I'm much more a skeptic than they are. I don't believe them. That's my point. See, I see them. I don't believe them. I just don't believe them. I mean, now, are they cheating others? Sometimes they are. Because, see, look, if you are teaching, say, in American university, they're up there in Manhattan, it is not a la mode to be otherwise. So you have to blend with the society and to become an atheist like everybody else. And so that is a kind of, there are what they call, the world is full, especially in those high intellectual places, there are lots of Maranos. You see, there are Maranos, I mean, nobody is really forcing them by the Inquisition. But you see, if you are living in these places, especially if you rise a little bit, you'll find out that if you happen to be a believer, and America is one of the best countries for that. I mean, it's basically a country with a lot more belief than England or Europe in general. So in other places, even worse. So to say that you believe in anything is something so bizarre that you feel uncomfortable in saying something like this. You see, to believe in what I call all kinds of extraterrestrials is perhaps strange, but you can go with it in the nicest places. To believe in saying anything that is far less bizarre, it is not a la mode, and therefore people don't do it. But when you come to these people, and sometimes talking with them, and say, see, I'm not the right person to do this talking, because when they see me, they act exactly like a hedgehog. I mean, they roll over and with all the pricks outside just to defend themselves. That may be that I'm going to bite them. So they are afraid. But you see, if you are, the more you are, or say, look like any other person, and you talk with people, you'll find out that there are basically two things. One of them is that there are lots of people who don't like what they call the religious, Jewish or non-Jewish, lingo. They just don't like the language. The language seems to them it's just rubbing them the wrong way, and so they react against the language. They are not fighting with the notion, but with the language, with the way it's expressed. And because it's expressed in one way, they don't like it. See, and see, if you look at it objectively, some of those, I mean, you sometimes come across all kinds of nice religious people, and it's not easy to stand in their society. I mean, the way that they are talking is really obnoxious. I mean, sometimes it's stupid, sometimes it is just, you see, to be a bigot is much easier than to be a religious person. So people sometimes take this choice and follow it. But because of that, for some people, just the lingo, the language, the way that people express these things, they don't like it. See, look, I'm reading now some of the ways that they write, they print the Jewish books now in America and other places. And let me just tell you that I feel from time to time that like there was a story about a black that was talking with his friend and said something which is sometimes very true. He says, you see these Jews, they don't believe in God, they believe in Hashem. And the point is that we have, in many places, we have really the Hashemite empire. You have always Hashem, 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 Hashem. And you say, blessed are you, Hashem, and so on and so on. Now all this is something, if you have any sensitivity to language and to use of language, you cannot take it. So some people just feel that the use of the words is something, they don't like it. Now, it doesn't mean that they are not connected with the notion. So in many a time, it is sometimes a matter of just trying to find out how that person, a little boy or a little girl, or a university professor, how he or she defines for himself the same notion. And then you'll find out that most of the people have it as a given. They have the same notion, but they give it any number of names because it's easier, it's more comfortable, it's a part of the way that they are speaking. Or for other, I mean, all kinds of people have what are called personal idiosyncrasies for ways for the forms of saying things. And in Israel there is also a creation of all kinds of such forms, not only in America, but so you create forms, and these forms are not the ones that people have. So that is one thing that happens many a time, which is a matter of trying to find the right way of talking with a person and finding out what he has inside. And many of them, let me just tell you, many of these people that they will proclaim themselves as great atheists, burning atheists, are basically nice Jewish people, full of faith, full of belief. They just don't know it. You know, there is, I used it in one book of mine. There is in one of the plays of Molière, there's somebody, one of the heroes, is being explained what the meaning of prose is. And he looks and says, just imagine, I was talking prose all my life and I didn't know it. Now that's exactly the same thing. Some people, and I'm not speaking about exceptions that you find them here and there. Some people that you may know, and you know them at whatever they are basically people that are believing people. They just don't know. They use other names or they use other forms. That is one thing. There is also another thing, which is, and that is something else. Look, there is the notion of faith in the sense of, put it in the very rough way. There is something there. There is some meaning of things. There is some way, something that makes it cannot be that life is completely without a meaning, and so on and so forth. This notion is not always something that a person wants to play with, especially, let me just put a point there. If a person has a sensitivity, and some people have it, to the point of faith, they are scared of it Because if they admit, they are bound to begin to do all kinds of things which they are not prepared to do. You see, as long as I can say, okay, I'm an atheist, so I'm well defended against anything. See, nobody can touch me. If I change that, then, well, I'm no longer protected. And some people, let me just tell you, that some people are those tough, hard guys that tell you that they don't take any nonsense from anybody. They are basically, it's very offensive if you tell them. They are inside. They are just, you see some people having a showbiz of an old woman saying Tehillim. But they are afraid to reveal it, because you see, he's now a tough businessman, and he's killing every day a few hundred people in the stock market, and he cannot just reveal that he has inside him something like this. It is, believe me, there are a lot of people like this, and for these people, there's a point of not saying it. But if you come to people, they used to say that you won't find any atheist in the foxholes, which is very true. I mean, you can see it here in our country. You can see it when it comes to the battlefield. People change whatever they have. Most people do their prayers in what way they can. Because, okay, I played with it as long as I was outside, so it was easier to play with the girls, to eat a little bit of pork. But now that I'm coming to serious things, I have to pray. There's no joking matter anymore. I mean, so far I could play with it, but now it is serious. I remember there's a friend of mine told me there were a whole airplane, army airplane, full of people, paratroopers, that made the first jump. Now there is somebody, one of the rabbis in the army, prepared what they call tfilat hatzadchan. Small piece of prayer, the prayer of the paratrooper. And this fellow that was a religious guy, I mean, all the rest were not. I mean, everybody took this prayer. Everybody in the plane took this prayer because, well, I mean, it's now a serious thing to jump for the first time for a few thousand meters. That's not a joke anymore. I mean, as long as I was walking with everybody else, with my buddies, it was easy. Now, doing that is something different. And therefore, I am not, obviously, I am not doing it. So I'm saying that in many cases, what we find around us is a sham experience, which is a matter of all kinds of cultural development, of the times, of philosophers. But it is not essential, and basically, I would say that this basic point of faith is seemingly, as one may say, it is one of the very basic things that are in every human mind, from the earliest periods in which you know anything about humanity. See, the cave dwellers or the satellite dwellers are exactly the same kind of people, and they have the same kind of basic belief. And let me just tell you that many of the very most primitive people in the world have possibly a much purer notion of religion than some of the much more what are called developed city living people, because they get less nonsense, so they get something which I try to explain is something of almost not a direct revelation, but a direct feeling that comes with a feeling about existence. Now, all that wasn't just to make to preach about, say, about existence of the Almighty. But just saying that this is one part of religion, which is the easy part. Because it is easy because it is intrinsic to us. I don't know, didn't have conversation lately, not with a dog, not with a cat, but I suppose they have also the same basic belief, which is a belief possibly every being that has any sense of existence, any kind of a conscious mind, has in one level or another, even though, of course, in different languages, in different ways, in different words, has the same basic belief.